Celebrating its 55th anniversary in June 2024, Sam Peckinpah's iconic, genre-twisting western The Wild Bunch withstands the test of time more than most. Although the film drew controversy at the time for its unsettling graphic depiction of violence and unglamorous portrayal of the American frontier, it has endured as one of the most influential westerns ever made and one of Peckinpah's crowning achievements. Yet, in keeping with the revisionist theme of the movie, The Wild Bunch drew mixed reviews in 1969 before slowly being praised in retrospect. Today, The Wild Bunch is unanimously hailed as the true masterpiece it deserves to be. Now that it's more than a half-century old, a fond look back at The Wild Bunch is necessary to determine why it was so polarizing at the time and how it has overcome the stigma to rank as one of the all-time greatest American movie westerns, based on an Oscar-nominated screenplay by Sam Peckinpah, Wallen Green, and Roy N. Snicker. The Wild Bunch is a revisionist western directed by Peckinpah after a decade of genre experience. The story begins in Texas in 1913, where the gruff and grizzled aging Pike Bishop, William Holden, leads a gang of criminals and outlaws on a mission to steal silver from a railroad station. Pike and his right-hand man, Dutch Angstrom, Ernest Borgnine, round up an unsavory band of men willing to do whatever it takes to survive. As Pike leads his crew to the loot in the elevated non-traditional western, they travel along a collision course with Pat Harrigan, Albert Decker, a shady railway agent who has hired Pike's former partner, Deke Thornton, Robert Ryan, to track them down. Deke leads a hyper-violent ambush that raises more than half of Pike's crew and kills several innocent bystanders. Afterward, they learn the silver was fake and Pike and the few survivors head to the Mexican border, cross the Rio Grande with a grumpy cowboy named Freddie Sykes, Edmund O'Brien, and struggle to adapt to the bleak modern life in the early 20th century. In Mexico, Pike and his crew face the brutal and corrupt General Mapache, Emilio Fernandez, who offers them gold bars for robbing an American military train to resupply his army. The Wild Bunch bucks conventions and transcends the Western genre when Deke comes looking for Pike during the train robbery, ending in arguably the most squeamishly violent action sequence ever committed to celluloid. Why was The Wild Bunch so controversial? Much like Bonnie and Clyde, released 2 years prior, The Wild Bunch courted controversy for its graphic depiction of violent bloodshed. Beyond the opening ambush and train robbery, the main point of contention is the sensationalized, slow-motion climactic shootout between Pike and Deke's men replete with ultra-gory bloodletting. The nearly 5-minute massacre partially features Pike's henchman, Tector Gorch, Ben Johnson, waylaying a Mexican army with a ferocious Gatling gun, leaving a hypergory trail of corpses in his wake. Victims sustain shots to the face, get their heads blown off, and dead bodies fly through the dusty sky in slow motion to amplify the sensation of being in a shootout. In 1969, this level of unremitting screen violence was abnormal and shocked viewers to the bone, including many critics who missed the point Peckinpah was making. According to If They Move, Kill 'Em, Peckinpah deliberately intensified the violence as an allegory about the Vietnam War, which was being pumped into American television on a nightly basis. According to Peckinpah, the point of the film is to take this facade of movie violence and open it up, get people involved in it so that they are starting to go in the Hollywood television predictable reaction syndrome, and then twist it so that it's not fun anymore, just a wave of sickness in the gut. It's ugly, brutalizing, and bloody awful. It's not fun and games and cowboys and Indians. It's a terrible, ugly thing, and yet there's a certain response that you get from it, an excitement, because we're all violent people. Peckinpah also admitted that, while he intended to depict realistic violence as a means of catharsis for the American public, his intended results backfired. Instead of horrifying audiences with disturbing violence, Peckinpah was alarmed when he realized some moviegoers enjoyed the excessive bloodshed. The enjoyment led to influence, with many other filmmakers adopting the hyperviolence established by The Wild Bunch as a form of popular entertainment. Still, few have the superior craft and staying power as The Wild Bunch. How the Wild Bunch holds up in 2024. To achieve ultra-gory shootouts, the Wild Bunch employed cutting-edge editing techniques that hold up today. Editor Louis Lombardo used revolutionary methods to create intense, rapid-fire shootouts that underscore the movie's gritty realism. Between the complex framing and camera angles, quick-cut editing, slow-motion counters, and sped-up frame rates, the action sequences pushed cinema forward in 1969 to create a head-spinning sensory assault. Everyone from Martin Scorsese to Quentin Tarantino has been influenced by the all-time great yet controversial 1960s Western. Beyond the editing techniques and revolutionary violence, the performances are second to none. Holden and Borgnine are perfectly cast and give heartfelt turns as aging outlaws who fail to grasp America's sweeping societal changes in the 20th century. While filming a tender campfire conversation between the two, Peckinpah couldn't yell, "Cut," to end the scene because he was too choked up with tears. The acting in the film is superb, with Holden and Borgnine able to articulate the existential unease they feel in an unwelcoming land where they realize there is no country for old men. Regarding No Country for Old Men, cinematographer Roger Deakins has listed The Wild Bunch as his favorite all-time film. Part of his praise relates to cinematographer Lucien Ballard's arresting visual display in The Wild Bunch. Ballard shot the movie in an anamorphic widescreen format and often used telephoto lenses for deep-focus background shots. The sweeping desert canvas countered by the filthy costume details adds to the gritty realism. As such, The Wild Bunch won a National Society of Film Critics Award for Best Cinematography. Past the enduring acting, editing, cinematography, and violence, The Wild Bunch has withstood the test of time to become a unanimously praised classic. After scoring mixed reviews when it was released, The Wild Bunch currently boasts a 91% Rotten Tomatoes rating and 98 Metascore. In 1999, the Library of Congress selected the film to be preserved in the U.S. National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. In 2008, the American Film Institute named The Wild Bunch number 6 on the list of the 10 best westerns ever made.